Just not quite enough in the tank this Easter Sunday. Cubs lose one in extra innings to cap off what was a historic start to the weekend at the friendly confines. Regardless, it's a series win, a rotation that's trending upward, and the Cubs are showcasing three of the most valuable players in baseball through the official 1-month anniversary of the start of the 2025 season. Cody and I got you next. Keep it right here on the CHGO Cubs podcast. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. Wherever at the moment, it's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 at sign up. Kevin Wells and Cody Delmendo here this Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to all of you. Thank you for joining us after what was a 2-time rain delay game and an extra inning game super late. So maybe you're not with your families anymore. Maybe you can tune in and watch us. Tough one for the Cubs today. Cody, they lose 3-2 in extra innings. You're not going to win them all. This isn't a bad loss by any means. You played a really good team. You played a really good series. I want to use the word good in kind of quotations because Friday was almost a disaster until it wasn't. Both of us were there in attendance. Can't wait to recap that one with you. But this one today, I don't know. I feel good about most of the way the game went. You only got a couple of hits. The offense kind of, hit a little bit of a snag there, but your bullpen looked good. Jameson Taillon, again, had a really nice outing, especially after he was interrupted after the top of the first inning. He kind of came out and did a really nice job, gave you 5, and the bullpen looked really good again today, too. So we'll talk especially about Jordan Wicks with a nice bounce back in extra innings. Sure, he let the 2 ghost runners in. But those don't count as earned runs. Cubs take 2 out of 3. Successful weekend.
Yeah, so the offense had 4 hits today.
Yeah, not enough.
They only walked twice, and they struck out 10 times. The offense is the reason they didn't win this game. The first comment in the chat, I think from Mike, said something about PCA's base or attempt to bunt in the 10th inning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it popped up.
Yeah, and it popped up foul, and Nico was trying to steal. I guess I in general, I tend to agree. That to me, that should. Do I not know ball here, Kevin? Is this a thing that Craig Counsell should be like? Because they're giving the signs, and if Nico's getting the sign to steal, then shouldn't PCA know that? Like I don't know. I feel like I know, but I also don't know because I'm not in their dugout, and I don't know if they did give the signs. You know what I mean?
There's a couple of things there. So if PCA notices Nico is going, I think that tends to lead to a communication issue there because if you see a guy's going in the jump Nico had, he clearly would have been in there. Unless you are 100% positive you're getting that bunt down, then you can run it out for a hit, which he's the one guy in the lineup that can bunt for a hit consistently. Then you try to lay it down. But this pitch was a little bit off the plate, and it's hard to bunt in baseball, guys. It's not like we can, it's not like, just go out there and bunt. Bunting is really difficult. So I'm surprised that he kept his bat on the ball.
So, I mean,
should have pulled back.
To get back to his comment, I'm not, I guess you can say, that's it's a moment that, if he gets the bunt down, maybe it leads to a wild throw and Nico is on third base and PCA is on first or whatever. Either way, you're going to have a guy on second base if he gets the bunt down. I just in general feel like the fact that they didn't score another run I think they had good opportunities in the 7th and 8th inning, and they just couldn't get them in. I think the 7th inning, Michael Busch got a leadoff walk against the Diamondbacks bullpen. Ryan Thompson came in throwing those crazy sidearm sliders, and he walks Busch to start the inning, then strikes out Swanson, strikes out Hoerner, and then PCA, I think, struck out as well. So and they brought in a lefty to face PCA, and I think he struck out. So like that was a prime opportunity because I think Bush ended up getting to second base in that inning. And then the very next inning, I believe that Birdie ended up, I think there was a throwing error, that ball that you thought it was the ground ball to second base. Guy, it was in the hole. Guy made a diving play, but then made a bad throw.
Right. Yes.
And then, Birdie made it on that. He makes it. He gets to second base because the throw was it was thrown into the dugout. So he's able to get to second on that. So you have Birdie on second base with multiple chances. Happ hits a hard hit ball, but with the conditions today, that ball didn't land anywhere. And then I believe Tucker, I don't remember what Tucker did, but Tucker had some chances today and with guys in scoring position. It didn't come through. And I think today, Kyle Tucker's been so awesome. So it's hard to have any criticism for Kyle Tucker at all, especially with what he did on Friday. But today he had some moments where you're like, if you want to make this, you want to make the kind of money that you're projected to make, like, this is the time where you can really add on to your check. And it's just one game, like you said. Mm-hmm. I'm annoyed because I feel like every Sunday game is just an annoying loss, and I would like just a stress-free, like, I went into this game kind of like, whatever happens. I'm probably not going to be mad. But of course, they play a game where I'm like sitting here and I'm like, I can't believe I found a way to get annoyed by a loss when you had already won a series against a really good team, and you won the season series. So that loss the first Sunday that we talked in the road series that they lost, like, that one's not really coming back to haunt you now since you won the season series. But this game in general still found a way to give me some annoyance, and that's usually how losses happen. It sucks what happened in the top and the bottom of the 11th. Happ hits at 112 miles per hour, but of course, right at Perdomo, and Birdie's got to have more. If you want to talk about awareness, Birdie cannot just be running on that. Like, he's got to get back to second base, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And if he does, then you have Tucker coming up, and you still have one out, and who knows what happens with him at the plate. And a pitcher who would just come up from AAA, you know what I mean? So
first start in 2 years.
Yeah, you want me to get mad about certain guys in situational awareness. I would say Birdie there in the bottom of the 11th. But overall, I just thought that the offense in the first 9 innings just could not get anything going against Merrill Kelly. And then when they did have opportunities against the Diamondbacks bullpen late, they just couldn't get the big hit. So.
Yeah, it felt like the game was the Kyle Tucker fly out with a guy in scoring position there late in the game. I believe that was the 8th inning. That felt like the game to me. Didn't quite get it. Kyle's been great, so yeah, you can't fault him. He's not going to get the big hit every time. Obviously, had the big hit on Friday to give you the lead. To me, the John Birdie play in extra innings, he's trying to get a secondary lead to score on a hit, but I do agree, when you are on second base, you do need to know, you need to be aware of where the shortstop is behind you. That is what they teach you. Not saying he made a mistake, because he was trying to score. So his secondary lead put him halfway through the base path down the third, so he would have scored easy on a single. But I think with his speed already, he probably scores on a hit regardless. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a nitpicky thing. I agree, though. I think I would have liked to have seen him know where Perdomo was.
I mean, there's 0 outs in the inning.
Yeah.
There's 0 outs in the inning. But and let's just go back to, like,
the ball was hit right at Perdomo's glove, and he was going right into second base, though. So the momentum took him to the bag. He probably would have been out regardless, is what I'm trying to say.
Fair enough. But it's so demoralizing because you had a crazy play to end the top of the 11th with Josh Naylor attempting to steal home, and then Jordan Wicks just not giving in and finding a way to only allow the ghost runner to score, which is incredibly hard to do considering how that inning started, because it started with a lead or an RBI double by Naylor. So you basically just flip spots and you gave up the run, and he still only gave up the one run. When the Cubs have that opportunity in the bottom half, it's like, okay, you have your own chances, and you just kind of gave it away, it felt like. So I don't know. That's what happens in these one-run games. Someone in the chat already said, like, how many one-run games have we played yet? We started the count yet. I would say that there hasn't been that many. And so, but this is what happens when you play in a lot of one-run games like you did last year, and we come on post-game and we sit here nitpicking about why they lost, why this guy's at bat sucked in this moment, and that's why they lost, and this guy deserves more criticism, this and that. And whenever you do it every single day, it gets exhausting, and you get tired of complaining about the same thing every day. So that is my silver lining from this, is that I don't feel like we've played a lot of one-run games so far this year.
Cody, Cubs have played 4 one-run games, are 2-2.
Okay. All right. I feel like, we probably had hit that number way before this last year. I'm probably off on that. But
I see a lot of comments in the chat about, I don't like the ghost runner rule. What about Gage Workman coming in to face? I saw Becky said, does Gage Workman need to go? I think it's too early to make that kind of call, but it is interesting that, and Sean, our producer today, pointed this out, that it did seem interesting that you had the lefty-righty matchup there, but because Gage Workman has yet to show you who he has any sort of pop in his bat, he's done absolutely nothing at the plate yet. And, that error on Friday, it does beg the question, where is Gage Workman's leash at? Because him not getting that pinch hit opportunity, and we know Justin Turner's leash is huge because they're giving him $7 million and he's a proven bat, but he hasn't been hitting well. He's a guy, I think, if he would have had a couple more hits, that's a pinch hit opportunity instead of John Birdie, because you obviously historically are going to trust Justin Turner's bat over John Birdie's bat. But right now, no, you can't. And Counsell was put in a bind because his bench has not been very good offensively. So, again, that all comes down to...
Except for the catchers.
Right, yeah. Yeah, Carson, and I don't know if I want to... Those two have been on a different level. I can't wait to talk about Carson Kelly later, who just had...
And you're not going to bring up Amaya in a certain situation because what if it's that, and then what if you don't get it and then you're out of your backup catcher just in case something happens,
True.
I guess. I don't know. But anyway.
Cubs lose 3-2 to the Diamondbacks at home on Sunday. It was one of those games where I want to point out the fact it just seems to go overlooked again. Jameson Taillon, man, just so impressive again. I'm really, he is using the 4-seam fastball at a much higher rate this year. He's generating a ton more whiffs than he was last year. Still not, to the upper echelon of the league. But his strikeout rate is up. His walk rate is down through 5 starts. He rebounded. He had a really bad start in Arizona to start the season. Gave up a couple bombs. Today he looked completely settled. And he gives you 5. He probably gives you 6 if you don't have the rain delay there, maybe. And, the pitch count got to where it got. He's a little bit more, if the game was more simultaneous and it was going, it wasn't, oh, here you threw 1 inning, now you got to take an hour off. That does impact pitching. So I'm impressed with Taillon. I really like the way he threw today. The Cubs starting rotation in general, Cody, they're really picking up the slack right now. There's not one guy who goes out there, steps out there, and I don't think they have a chance. And Colin Ray on Friday was great. Mm-hmm. And that took, I think, a lot of us by surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll start with Taillon here, and we can talk more about the rest of them as we go along. But 11 whiffs for Taillon today. I thought he located pitches well, too, because he got some strikeouts on guys looking. Corbin Carroll and Perdomo have been awesome all season, and they were pretty quiet today. And my only thing is, I told you this during the game, is like that at some point they're gonna need some guys to be able to go deeper in the game. And I think he would have gone out there for the 6th if they didn't have the rain delay.
That's what I think too.
So, maybe I'm not even really criticizing. It's more of just like, that sucks that the rain delay had to happen not only once but twice. And and I say this because we've seen it before, the domino effect that it can play on your bullpen if you're not getting any kind of consistent starting pitching going deep into the games. And Colin Ray was actually, like you said, pretty good Friday, all things considered, but you still used a ton of relievers Friday. You used you didn't use nearly as many yesterday, I guess, but Ben Brown only went 4 innings. And then today you go into extra innings. So it's It's just one of those things. Like, they're going to need some deeper outings, but overall, Tyone's been awesome.
Cody, Cubs threw 24 games last year, 15-9, but 8 one-run games. They were 4-4. So they're through 24 games, 14-10, but 2-2 in the 4 one-run games.
Let's take a quick break here on the CHGO Cubs podcast. CHGO Cubs brought to you by Toyota. Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. They have more than any other auto brand. The Chicago winter can be a brutal one. Thank God we're through that. A lot of rain today, slipping and sliding if you don't have the four-wheel traction. From the sleek Camry all-wheel to the Corolla hybrid all-wheel drive cars, the Toyota Tundra is a truck known for its power, durability, off-road capabilities, perfect for all seasons. Headed to the big game, the spacious Grand Highlander, the perfect ride with all-wheel drive to keep you and yours safe. They have more than any other auto brand. So bring the action, and Toyota will bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places.
You can become a CHGO diehard if you haven't already, and if you do, you can get a 20% discount on our trip to Milwaukee coming up.
Yeah, it's less than 2 weeks away.
I know, right? Get access on all our exclusive written content, a free T-shirt, plenty of discounts in the future on merch, events. Got the NFL draft party coming up this week as well. Plus access to the CHGO Discord lounge where we all hang out and talk Chicago sports and so much more. I'll probably be in there tonight because I'm sure there's some people who want to vent about this loss. Go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join the thousands of CHGO diehards in our community. Can't wait to connect with you on an even greater level. So like I mentioned, our event at Potawatomi Casino, May 3rd, all right? The Cubs play the Brewers that weekend. And me, Luke, perhaps Corey, perhaps Kevin will be up at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Casino and Hotel in Milwaukee. And what we're basically doing is we're having an exclusive pregame party. It's in a private room in their casino. We're gonna have a live show. We'll basically hang out before and during whatever, talk baseball, talk whatever. There's a buffet lunch that comes with it. There's drink tickets. And then the biggest thing, if you come and you spend the money for the ticket, is you get $100 in casino play. So you might come, win big, and pay for your ticket, right?
Throw a couple futures on there. You can bet on the Cubs that day if you want to, because Potawatomi does have a sports book in there.
That's sick. There you go. And then, there's add-ons available as well. You pay, and I think, so the regular... Just to come to the pregame event with the lunch and the drink tickets and the $100 and casino play at the casino, another it's $50 for that. It's another $75 for the game ticket to hang out with me, Luke, and anyone else who comes. Our seats are in the 200 section at Wrigley North, and then if you want to stay at the casino or the hotel and casino all overnight, I think total is $275. So it's a really great deal. If you want to go spend the weekend in Milwaukee when the Cubs go up there, hang out with me, Luke, perhaps Kevin and Corey, and I just think at the very least coming to the live show or whatever before the game is a great deal because you can hang out at the casino, hang out with me and Luke and everyone else from CHGO that's going to be there. And if the Cubs keep playing the way they are, why wouldn't you want to go up to Milwaukee? Because the tickets are going to be cheaper anyway. So.
Well, anyway, I'll tell you what, too.
allchgo.com/events for that.
If you guys want to have as much fun as we had on Friday with the Friday 120 Club, and you want to enjoy time together as the CHGO Cubs community, the Potawatomi is going to be a great place to do it in Milwaukee. So I'll tell you, Cody, Friday was just an all-time historic win at Wrigley Field. With us, a lot of our diehards, a lot of people in the chat, that was the most fun I've had at a Cubs game since the Cubs walked off the White Sox with Christopher Morel's home run. And I happened to be there with you and our diehards.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if we're all there together, it seems like we're getting some pretty historic moments.
Yeah.
I mean, Friday was an unbelievable time. That place was up for grabs, man.
Yeah. Yeah, hit the like button for Kyle Tucker and the Cubs offense in the eighth inning for that game, man.
Let's just go through the series because Friday was a game in which Corey and I were on Thursday the night before, and I'm like, listen, man, I don't like this bullpen. I'm still not in the category of I like this bullpen. They had a pretty good day today against a good lineup. I'm still not there after all the walks. Not a lot of clean innings. Still, Merriweather gave up a couple base runners today, got out of it. A lot of high pitch counts. I'm not there yet. And the bullpen on Friday completely imploded. One of the worst implosions I think we've ever seen. 10 runs in one inning. The fact that they came back to win that game tells me this team is different, Cody. This is a month in, and they may not be the upper echelon of the National League yet. I don't know. The injury to Steele changes things. They don't have the firepower and the pocketbooks of the Padres and Dodgers. But I'll tell you, man, the way they've played this month and the way they've responded to adversity, and they went down 4 runs in the 8th inning late, didn't blink, came right back, stormed right back, took the lead behind your superstar player, Kyle Tucker. That tells me this team is a little bit different than the teams we've seen the last couple seasons. And I can't even begin to tell you how much fun Friday was in the bleachers.
Okay.
I had a blast.
So when you say this team is different, Sean, can you tell me again how many one-run games the Cubs have played at this point last year?
So Cubs are through 24 games this year.
Yes.
4 one-run games in 2025.
Okay.
Through 24 games last year, 4-4, 8 one-run games.
So they've cut that in half. Okay.
They had one more win than last year.
And
So
they have,
even though it was probably a more painful watch, they did technically do better, but also a completely different schedule. I mean, someone in the chat mentioned how difficult this schedule has been. The NL West is so good, and I feel like you guys have not gotten out of playing the NL West. I think you still have to play the Dodgers again.
Yeah,
on
that's our
Tuesday.
next series. Yeah.
So they'll be done with the top 3 teams in the NL West after Wednesday when they play the Dodgers. But yeah,
Still have the Giants in August. But
it's been the hardest schedule to start the year of any major league team by a wide margin. You find yourself at 14-10. And games perhaps that you should have lost. I'm going to say Friday, I know they were up 7-1, but the way the bullpen, the track record of the bullpen, I'm going to say that's a game you should have lost, and you snuck out a win. I know you were up 7-1.
Yeah.
The team, again, I'm not ready to make any crazy proclamations about the 2025 Cubs. All I'm telling you is Friday's win felt different. And I'm starting to think that this team might be better. And I know the Pacoda rankings had the Cubs with 90 wins. We all kind of scoffed at it. I'm starting to think they might be closer to that than we think.
Well, to Sean's point about how many one-run games they played last year compared to this point this year, cutting that in half, that to me, when I think about April of last year, their offense was awesome in April of last year. But ALLCITY blew a bunch of saves. They gave away a bunch of games in April. They have not given away nearly as many games in April this year as they did last year. Now, they gave away that one game against Arizona that Sunday, and then the one game against San Diego on a Sunday as well in San Diego. Or no, here. Those 2 games. I would say their last couple losses, like this loss, I don't think they gave it away. I mean, they had opportunities to win, but I don't feel like I'm sitting here thinking they gave that game away.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
The one, they lost the series against San Diego, but you had a 3-3 road trip overall against the Dodgers and Padres. And Sean just said the NL West is one of the it's the best division of baseball right now. I think there's plenty of reason to at least have some optimism, I guess.
Well, here, one final thing for optimism. Cubs lead the NL Central by 1 game, 1 full complete game last year. Even with the better record, the 15-9 record, they were in second place and a half game back. So, I mean, you're still currently leading the NL Central. Brewers were off to a slow start. They seem to have found it a little bit, but how long can that last? Do you really trust Milwaukee? Like, I do think the Cubs, by far, are still the best team in the NL Central.
Yeah. And right now, I think they're playing like it. When you have 3 guys in the top 10 in Fangraphs WAR, and you're leading almost every offensive category out there as a team, and you're going to have games like this. And I think that this Diamondbacks team, they're showing why they are one of the better teams in the National League too. So
they came into Wrigley on Friday winning 5 in a row.
Yeah, and then they lost
beat
2
the Brewers in a series before this too.
Yeah. So, going back to the game on Friday. Listen, the one thing that you forgot to mention is that the conditions were absolutely terrible for any pitcher that day.
Yeah.
Colin Ray pitched as well as he could have on Friday, considering those conditions. And Corbin Burns.
I said Colin Ray was great.
Yeah.
I thought
What, he gave up
great.
1 run in 5 innings or whatever?
He struck out Corbin Carroll and Perdomo in the first inning. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like, whoa,
Yeah.
all right, here we go. Let's get it going.
But as we know, the 8th inning, I'm happy to see Porter Hodge bounce back today.
Mm-hmm.
The problem on Friday, and this isn't even just Friday. This is when it comes to the Cubs bullpen, the problem has been the walks, and they walked some guys on that Friday in the 8th inning and all that. Ethan Roberts came in after Hodge and gave up a home run to Suarez. I'm pretty sure that's who he gave it up to. Like, it was a perfect storm of just everything wrong going at the top of the 8th inning. But then the bottom of the 8th inning, they responded as well. So I think Luke has mentioned this before. When adversity has come, they have answered the call a lot more often than not. Could not answer adversity today. Unfortunately, the ball didn't bounce their way in certain points of this game, and they really couldn't hit off Merrill Kelly at all after the first inning. So, could have potentially gotten Merrill Kelly out of this one earlier if they had better at bats after the first inning, and they just didn't. So, I think he deserves some credit. But yeah, I think the Saturday game is more telling than just what happened on Friday. The Saturday game, Zach Gallen's on the mound, and you'd already faced him, and you teed off him again, back-to-back homers for Michael Busch and Seiya Suzuki in that game. Kyle Tucker had a nice game as well in that one. The offense was good. You scored 6 runs in that game, and Ben Brown was unable to go deep for you, but he didn't break. He didn't give up a bunch of runs either. So the bullpen, in my opinion, was awesome yesterday. The bullpen was awesome today. I personally think the bullpen is coming together. I'm not saying that it's perfect. I'm not saying that I feel great
Still
about
too
it,
many base runners.
but I still think that it's getting there. It's better than where it was a week ago, because I feel like in these last 2 days, they haven't walked dudes. They haven't walked anyone in these last 2 games, and so we'll see. I thought Brad Keller is for sure someone that I feel great about. I don't care what happens about Porter Hodge. If he hasn't, after Friday, I still had plenty of confidence in him. Presley's been awesome since he closed out the game against the Dodgers last Sunday night. So he's figuring it out. Merriweather, base runners, he didn't give up any runs, whatever. To me, again, no walks from this bullpen, like a large amount of them. I don't know if they even walked anyone today or yesterday, but they were getting outs these last 2 days. The bullpen is not the reason they lost this game.
No, I think I'm more impressed with the fact that Porter Hodge had a quick memory, came in a really tough spot on Friday, and just gave up a total nuke. I mean,
yeah,
that was one of the farthest hit home runs we'll see at Wrigley all season off the bat of Eugenio Suarez. And
yeah, he's the one who gave up the one to Suarez. My bad.
Yeah,
Jordan Wicks started the inning and then gave up 3 straight hits. Hodge comes in, gives up the 3-run shot. Yeah,
and you were correct. No walks from the bullpen today. Julian Merriweather, Ethan Roberts, Porter Hodge, Ryan Presley, and Jordan Wicks, no walks. 2 walks from Jamison Tyone. So, yeah, I would agree that is a trend that the Cubs will welcome, because far too many walks, still close to the top of the league in walks. But here's the other thing we need to think about.
They had 1 walk yesterday as well, from the bullpen at least, and it was Daniel Palencia. But that was it.
That's going to happen with him. That just seems to be where he's
so 1 walk from the bullpen the last 2 games. It's 2 games. I'm not sitting here saying that it's fixed, but this is, to me, that is the key, because they have guys who have stuff, but you can't give away free passes.
Guess who leads the league in walks, Cody? As a team.
In terms of, like,
hitting,
you're talking about
hitting, offense. Who leads the league in walks?
I think the Cubs still do, don't they?
Who's second?
The Diamondbacks? Yeah.
Impressive stuff. If you're only giving up 2 walks to a team that walks and sees a ton of pitches. If you didn't watch that series and realize how impressive that Diamondbacks lineup is, just because they don't have a bunch of household names doesn't mean they're not great hitters. The Diamondbacks have they give you a ton of a lot of lefty slug, a lot of guys slap hitters, speed. Their lineup is really impressive, and you won a series against them. And you're right, only 2 walks. You'll take that any day of the week, especially with a bullpen that's been scuffling along as it has.
Kevin, we got a break, but there's another thing that Cody was right about. It was weird that Justin Martinez didn't pitch for the Diamondbacks. Steve Gilbert says, Torey Lovello says he's not injured, but is fatigued from workload so far.
Okay, yeah.
Martinez has thrown 17 pitches in the last week. So he's not injured. He's just fatigued.
It was very surprised that Martinez didn't get in
17 pitches and he's fatigued. Yeah, there's something there. There's something going on there. But that, you know what? That's a veteran manager who has, been to is playing for later on in the season. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. It's a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Cody, what day is today, by the way? Can you remind me of what today's date is?
4/20.
Yeah. So if you celebrate, Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. What are some of the amazing features to make a brand or product awesome? Well, one-stop shop for all your needs. Sunnyside's got an expertly curated menu, over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. It's Illinois' favorite dispensary. Locations here in Chicago. There's one in Wrigley and River North, and in the suburbs, Champaign, South Beloit, and more. If you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance to the brands we know you'll love, like Good News and Mindy's. If you're a pro, we've got you covered. Over 100 strains on the menu with new ones added daily. We know you'll love the Cresco and Florical incredible quality and constituent products. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys. You can do it every single day. Here's the best part. 50% off your first 3 online purchases by using the code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 and up or Illinois medical card holders.
Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch, kickoff, tip-off, or any other event that you're going to, right? With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, all right? We got Friday 120 Club this next coming Friday. We just had a great Friday, all-time Friday 120 Club this past Friday.
It's gonna be tough to top.
I don't think me and Greg Braggs and you and anyone else who comes to Friday 120 Club will ever have a better Friday home game than that. I guess the better situation would just be like it being a playoff game or a September game that clinches the division or something. That was absolute bananas, and it was awesome. Absolutely awesome. I've rewatched the reaction videos that MR, social media coordinator, got, and I've rewatched Kyle Tucker's home run way too many times. It's been 2 days. I watched it this morning because I was just laying in bed and not wanting to get out of my bed, and I watched it. All right. You can be part of moments like that with us if you go to Game Time and get your tickets, okay? And if you just wait until first pitch, you come hang out at Murphy's with us, and you just follow Game Time while you're there with us. Just keep refreshing the Game Time app while you're there. You'll get the best value on any ticket that you look for on the Game Time app, all right? They have zone deals, which when you save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. They have all-in pricing. When you toggle that feature, it shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They have seat views. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. I know we sit in the bleachers, but if you want to sit in the grandstand, those poles are a pain in the butt, all right? They have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is also covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry with Game Time ticket coverage. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time, the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, the lowest price guaranteed.
This series featured a ton of star players.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's a couple names, as I mentioned, with the Diamondbacks lineup that there's maybe not household names. Maybe there's one. I think everyone, who's a baseball fan has heard of Corbin Carroll, but maybe not Perdomo, and certainly on the Diamondbacks side, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, if you're one of our pals down there, especially the guys working for us. Pete Crow-Armstrong is a new one. What do both of those guys have in common? They're both top 10 in baseball in WAR right now to start the year.
Yeah. So I saw the tweet from someone on Twitter today. It wasn't even a Cubs person. But Aaron Judge, Corbin Carroll, Fernando Tatis Jr., Perdomo, Jung-Hoo Lee, Carson Kelly, Kyle Tucker, Cedric Mullins, and then Pete Crow-Armstrong comes in tied. The Kyle Tucker, Cedric Mullins, and PCA are tied at 1.3, and then Carson Kelly's tied with Perdomo, Hoo Lee for, I guess, with 1.4. So there's, they could easily find themselves a lot higher on this list, in a couple days. But the fact that Carson Kelly is top 10 in Fangraphs WAR with a week left of April is objectively hilarious. But PCA showing off the value real easily in this, with whether it's the defense, the speed, the base running, the fact that he stole a base today when the Diamondbacks knew he was going to steal a base, that goes into what they call value, right? And he's been hitting. I think today snapped a streak of, I think he had 7 straight games with an extra base hit. Today he didn't have one. So, all 3 of those guys are a big reason why the Cubs are 14-10 and, winning baseball games and looking really good doing it. So,
I mean, this list is, take it with a grain of salt, obviously. This is a month into the season. But seriously, how awesome is it to see Carson Kelly having the start to the year that he's had? This is a career start to a season for him. This is the best start he's ever had by far.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is homering in huge spots, the power, I mean, it's really amazing. The guys you named ahead of him, the fact that Carson Kelly's on that list, and my buddy's a Tigers fan, and he's always texting me about how, it's not going to last, man. He was horrible with us. The hitting, I promise you the strikeouts will tick up. And as soon as he texted me that in the bleachers, Kelly hit that 3-run homer, his second of the day. I mean, the guy's locked in right now. Is he going to be top 10 in F4 at the end of the year? No.
Right. But
I'll tell you, Pete Crow-Armstrong and Kyle Tucker might be. Both those guys might be.
Listen, man, for April, Carson Kelly, and these numbers might be going into today, but 419, 578 on base percentage and a 1,097 slug with a 320 WRC plus. That's at 45 plate appearances, by the way. So of course it's a very, very, very small sample. But the point is, though, is I came in the season thinking, okay, Kelly probably be a better defensive option than Miguel Amaya. He had a 99 WRC plus last year, so he hopefully at least hits better than what Yan Gomes did and all the rest of the Cubs catchers that were not named Miguel Amaya last year, right? Like I was looking for just a really solid backup catcher, and he probably will look like a really solid backup catcher by the end of the year. But you cannot ignore these numbers and say that this guy is not having an insane start to the year. I guess this bears a question. Is this just an insanity run, or is he en route to be like he's not going to hit 419 with a 320 WRC plus all season, but is he gonna be making a case for an all-star to make the all-star team for the National League? I think we have to wait a few more weeks and find out, but this is an incredible development that's happened. Like he had the cycle in Sacramento, and it's like cool. Yeah. First week of the year, it was fun. Like, of course he did that, right? But the home run he hit on Friday, not one but 2 home runs he hit on Friday were like they were in huge spots, and he's delivered in other huge spots too. Like it's unreal the start that he is on to start this year. I'm enjoying it. But no one saw this coming.
Yeah, Carson Kelly last year and the 2 teams he played for, he gave you a 1.8 F4. He's at 1.4 right now. His best was in 2019 with the Diamondbacks at 2.3. So the fact that he's already, obviously we know WAR can go up and down and things like that. But
him and Kyle Rowley right now are the only catchers in baseball with with a WAR above 1.
And here's the thing about Carson Kelly too. I think he's 3 home runs off the tie for the league lead in homers, and he doesn't play every day.
Yeah.
Like, he's got 6 bombs this year. The league leader right now is Soderstrom out in Oakland. He's got 9. Sorry, not Oakland, Sacramento. I got to get used to saying that. But yeah, listen.
You don't. They're going to be in Las Vegas soon.
Yeah, call them whatever you want. The West Coast A's, they're bad. The Brewers smoked them today. The Carson Kelly experience through 1 month in the season has been nothing short of extraordinary. He's been everything you could have wanted, especially a guy hitting at the bottom of your lineup, and he's able to provide you that production. That's the one thing the Cubs really lacked last year, and Counsell talked about it a lot, was, hey, it's really important for guys at the bottom of the lineup to help turn over the top, to have your contact guys, your walk guys come up, especially now more than ever with a guy like Kyle Tucker and Seiya and Michael Busch, who are all near the league leaders in RBIs and guys hit in, because guess what? The bottom of your lineup has been so damn productive. Carson Kelly has a huge thing. Like, he's got a huge hand in that. Yeah. And so does Pete. Absolutely. So,
yeah. Just to add on the Carson Kelly stuff too, in 2021, he did have an April that was similar with the Diamondbacks. 6 home runs, 339 average, a weighted runs created plus of 201.
Oh my God!
So this is a hot April isn't like too bizarre for him.
Yeah. So I think another thing we should point out: 26% walk rate.
Yeah. That's
so
crazy,
he's just giving them good at bats right now
against good pitching. Mind you.
No. I mean, we just said that they're playing a really tough schedule, and I know he didn't do anything today. I think he went 0 for today, but.
Yeah,
there's hard to have any complaints about him at all, because he's already delivered basically anything I would have hoped for this year. You know what I mean? In terms of offense. So we'll be interested to see when, the couple series slump where he, it goes on an 0 for, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
it'll happen with everybody in this lineup.
Right.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see where his numbers are by the end of the year, considering how we're talking about him right now, because I'm not buying stock on him being an all-star or anything like that, but man, he's sure making a case to at least be in the conversation right now. He's objectively been the most valuable catcher in the National League. So it's just
statistically he has been.
Yeah. So
through a month, and obviously it's a long season, but it's a pat on the back. It's good. It's good scouting from Jed Hoyer's crew, going out and identifying and having a backup catcher who can hit the ball, because the Cubs struggled at that last year. I mean, they just had no production from the catching position. And credit to Miguel Amaya too. The days he's playing, he's hitting the ball harder. I still want to see him get on base a little bit more than he does. But the Cubs have had the best offensive catching tandem in baseball against the toughest schedule in baseball, against a team that's playing a ton of games away from Wrigley Field. A lot of these at-bats are coming on the road against NL West teams. The Cubs as a whole, their offense is humming along. Hit a snag today, not as many hits. That's why you only get 2 runs and you lose the game. But there should be no alarms sounding. There should be no concerns over offensive outputs. You're going to lose games like this to good teams. The Cubs offense is been the best in baseball so far. Yeah. So we'll, just try not to get the what's the word I'm looking for? Try not to get sucked in to the loss that just happened right in front of you. Try to look at things holistically, because I think that's really important when we're taking a look at this Fangraphs list, right? Like Aaron Judge and Corbin Carroll, Pete Alonso, and then Carson Kelly. Like, it's crazy. It's a fun thing, and that's the reason the Cubs are winning these games against good teams, and it's coming at the right times. And enjoy it. Just don't expect it to. I'm not sure about the All-Star bid. We'll see about all that, but he's been great.
I found the updated numbers after today's game. So,
they dip a little bit.
371, 531, 971 slug. So his slugging's under 1,000, guys. All right. Can we're talking about this list, and we're talking about, so we've talked about PCA a little bit. We've talked about Kyle Tucker in the moment he had on Friday and just his overall season. And we just gave Carson Kelly the love that he deserves. But I feel like we need to talk about the bullpen more.
Okay.
And
What specifically?
I'm just like everyone. Like I have this whole bit on Twitter about the whole circle of trust thing.
Yeah.
And so, listen, I understand the bullpen was terrible on Friday, and all of that. And the 8th inning was absolutely atrocious. It didn't help that Jordan Wicks came out there and gave up 3 straight hits to make his season debut in a 6-1 lead after Ian Happ hit a freaking grand slam with the wind blown out, Wrigley rocking on a Friday afternoon, the sun shining, and it was a 70-degree day in April. Vibes were immaculate. I was ready to run through a wall, right? And then the letdown came so fast, so quick. Luke did not have to get the reality spray for me after that 8th inning, or the top of the 8th inning at least, right? But I'm curious on who, and people in the chat, I'm curious who people are, what guys in the bullpen people are starting to feel good about, because I do think it's something that people want to complain about or talk about and just talk through. Because for me, right now, these are the 4 guys that I for sure feel really good about. Brad Keller, Julian Merriweather, Ryan Presley,
Porter Hodge.
And Porter Hodge. Those are the 4 guys that I for sure feel great about. Now, Caleb Thielbar was awesome yesterday, pitched 2 innings, and he got the save in San Diego earlier this week, and he had a tough start to the year. The last week, he's been good, right? Ethan Roberts gave up that homer on Friday, pitched a clean inning today. So I think I'm moving him back in. And other than giving up that home run on Friday, he's been good, right? Daniel Palencia, he's like right there on the line for me, but we all know he has the command can be a problem. He gave up a home run yesterday, even though it didn't matter. But man, the guy throws gas. Mm-hmm. Luke Little had a terrible game against the Padres last week, right? So I think there's 4 guys I for sure feel good about or confident in that they go out there and can give you a clean inning. But I, you know, when you're telling me at the beginning of the show that like you still aren't there yet, I would like to know why. At least with those 4 guys.
No, I mean I'm there with Porter Hodge. Porter Hodge I think is their best reliever. He gave up a bomb on Friday, and that's very unlike him. He's near the top of the league in walk rate, strikeout rate, velocity, whiffs. I mean, I have no concerns about Porter Hodge whatsoever. Porter Hodge is firmly in my circle of trust. Brad Keller, firmly in my circle of trust. Ryan Presley, velocity's not quite there for me. The swing and miss is not quite there for me. And from a closer, that's the most important thing on an elite contending team, is a guy who can keep traffic and hard hits off the bases. He's yet to do that this year. There's been a couple clean innings today, looked pretty good. But the consistency and that, I'm not there with Ryan Presley yet. But I told Corey this too, and I'll tell you this. I don't think that the acquisition was bad. I think he's going to be, this is a veteran who is going to help win you games when the stress levels are at its highest in September and October. He did that for countless years in Houston. I think the Justin Turner signing is the same thing. So you may not bear the fruits of those signings right now. I think that's to come. That's how I feel about Ryan Presley. I just don't. He's getting a lot of ground balls, which is great, but he's letting the ball's kind of flying off his bat when he makes his mistake. Not quite there yet. Julian Merriweather, I like. Those are the 3. It's Julian Merriweather. It's Porter Hodge. Porter Hodge for sure. Everything is pointing up for him right now. Porter Hodge, Julian Merriweather, and Brad Keller. And keep in mind this week, this might be the week that we get what's his name back? Sorry, I'm blanking. I was thinking about him that whole segment and I forgot. What's his name?
Assad?
Tyson Miller.
Or Tyson Miller.
This will be the week that maybe this week or weekend we see Tyson Miller come back up. Tyson Miller had a great start to the season with the Cubs when they traded for him last year. He's another guy that I think will add a lot to this bullpen. Ryan Brazier, we still haven't seen him yet. Remember that he had a great year last year, and the Dodgers simply cut ties because their bullpen is great, and they didn't have enough space for him on their 26-man. So there's just walks have been an issue, and they got a little bit better this weekend, and you've played good teams. I'm taking all that into account. but I'm not ready to say I like Caleb Thielbar. I'm not ready to say I'm in on, Jordan Wicks. I'm not ready to say that I'm all the way back on certain guys because
and that's
you're
fair.
walking the wrong guys.
Yeah.
You're walking Jason Haywards of the world. You're walking the 9 hitters. You're getting 2 outs and you're taking your foot off the gas. There's just not enough there.
Well, a lot of those guys who are doing that, though, are the ones who got optioned to Iowa this week, though.
Smart, yeah. The quick hook. Yeah, the Luke Little was the quick hook. He walked 4 guys, and it's like, okay. Right. But that shows you where the organization is, too, right now. This is they can't afford to lose games like that. You can't afford to walk 4 guys in an inning. Yeah. You're just not ready to be up yet. Yeah.
So
Assad will be back here soon, too.
Sure.
Assad is just in my circle of trust because he was good last year. So
related to Presley, I hear you when it comes to he doesn't throw 99. And we saw Robert Suarez this week with the Padres, and this guy throws 100 miles per hour, gets a ton of swing and miss, right? If Martinez would have pitched today for the Diamondbacks, we would have got to see just how electric that arm is. We might have seen it whenever they were in Arizona, but Presley's not that. The closest thing the Cubs have to that is probably Hodge, and I've said before, I do think he's the future closer of this team. And maybe that will come later this season. But the thing about Presley that I have liked over his last 4 outings, this goes back to April 13th in L.A. He has thrown over 10 pitches, 2 out of those 4. One of those included today, but 11 pitches, so whatever. But against the Dodgers, threw 7 pitches. On the 18th, on Friday, he closed out that 9th inning after that 8th inning that we witnessed chaos. he threw 7 pitches.
Yeah, and he was out of it real quick.
And I think Michael Busch made a really nice play for him at first base. So I think in terms of the possible chaos that could happen, I hear you. But my whole point and what you call circle of trust is, do you feel comfortable that the guy can get you 3 outs? Because that's where it is for me right now with how bad it was at the beginning. Can a guy go out there and get you 3 outs in a close game?
Are you factoring luck into that, though? Because the ball is getting hit hard off of his bat. Off of the batters he is facing, people are hitting it very hard off of him.
Some are, not all. But I hear what you're saying. I'm not even fully disagreeing. It's more that if you watched him the first 4 or 5 outings before today or this weekend, I felt like he was going 3-2 count with every hitter that he faced. Mm-hmm. He had walked some guys. He only has 2 walks on the season. He hasn't walked someone since April 6th. But he would go 3-2 count.
Really? 2 weeks, huh? That's pretty good.
Yeah, he hasn't walked anyone since April 6th. But if you go look at his game log, a lot of the outings that he had, especially beginning of April, he had one outing where he threw 30 pitches in that outing. He ended up getting the save, I believe, in that outing. Yeah, he got a save in that game, but it took 33 pitches to do it, and it just didn't look like he was locked in, and hitters were locked in on him, and maybe he got away with one that day. He has 3 saves on the season, and the one save that he had over these 4 outings that I'm talking about here, in recent games, was against the Dodgers in L.A. So I'm not saying he's looking like an electric closer out there, but he's getting the job done, and he's throwing strikes, and he's not having a ton of pitches to do it, which was something that you saw earlier in the month. And that, to me, that's my point about Presley, and that's why I feel better about him right now. Once he starts blowing saves, then I'm going to have some concern. But he hasn't even technically blown a save this year.
I've seen a little bit of that in the chat. He hasn't blown a save. And listen, I'm not saying that I don't like Ryan Presley. Well, I just said earlier that I think that the trade was fine with me. I like Ryan Presley as a pitcher overall, but the numbers you need from a closer they're just not pointing in the right direction right now. I'm not saying I don't trust him altogether. I'm not saying he's bad. He's just not where I want him to be, and he hasn't shown that yet because the Cubs are trying to, because the velocity's not there, because he's well past his prime and he's 36, you need to reinvent yourself as a pitcher. And they're trying to get him to put a lot of balls on the ground. And he has done that.
Yeah.
But still too many base runners, still too many balls hit hard for my liking. That's it.
That's fine. So, I think I'm just trying to point out like the change from him the beginning of the year, like the first 5 outings, to his last 4 to 5 outings now. And I think that he's throwing more first pitch strikes. Hasn't blown a save, and it's not taking as many pitches for him to get out of an inning either. So, yeah, I still think that Porter Hodge will be the closer by the end of the year. That's the guy that I want in the 9th inning at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I think everyone wants that. But I think the way that they're doing it right now is they want Hodge to get more experience. And then that's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And let's call a spade a spade. Both were really good today.
Yeah.
The hard hit percentage right now from Ryan Pressly 2025 through a month, bottom 8% of MLB. 53% of the guys are doing it. His K rate is also his career low right now. It would be his career low. 9% of guys he's striking out. That's bottom 1% of the league right now. So he's not striking guys out. So,
yeah,
again, not a problem if you can get a lot of ground balls, which he's doing. So both guys
were good today. He's also not walking anyone either. So he's not putting himself in tough situations. And that, listen, your concern is fair.
He could be getting more comfortable too. This is something I noticed just when Pressly was in the 9th inning, and Carson Kelly's back there. And I've noticed it's not just the Carson Kelly thing, it's also Miguel Amaya. I've noticed that Pressly is trying to establish a rapport with both those guys because he's shaking them off a lot. And oftentimes, the few times I've noticed it, I don't know the success rate of it, but the few times that I've noticed when they do the camera from the third base line in on his face and he's going like this, he's shaking it, and then he'll give the quick nod. He's getting the swing and miss on the pitch he's calling. So it could just be that he's getting more comfortable with his catchers too. That's something that we don't often hear about because there's so many other things that go on in a baseball game. But I have noticed a lot of the shakeoffs with both catchers, not just one or the other. So maybe the decline in walk rate is because he's starting to get more comfortable with these guys.
Sure. Everything you said about the K rate and a hard hit rate, all that stuff, I hear you. And that's the one thing, and it kind of reminds me of ALLCITY, not last year, but the year before. ALLCITY got 20 saves in 2023, but it's not like he was out there getting a ton of swing and miss all the time, right? So
no.
Hodge is a guy who's going to be able to do that, and that's why I think whether it's All-Star break or the end of the year, that's the guy I want getting the last 3 outs of the game.
Shout out to Jordan Wicks today too for doing a really nice job coming in those high leverage situations. I thought JD did a really good job pointing this out on the broadcast. Just because the ghost runners or the Rob Manfred rule, just because those runners at second are not technically earned runs should they cross home plate, doesn't make you feel any better as a pitcher. You're automatically thrown into a high leverage situation. A guy who has started the majority of his time in the Cubs with clean innings and nobody on base, that's a big change in your mindset as a pitcher. So, and I thought Jordan Wicks was excellent today, rebounded very well, and listen, if he can be a weapon, I think that it's going to be by a committee thing who gets that 5th starter role. But if you can show your manager that you can handle high leverage situations, that's important. And Wicks certainly did that today. Just not quite enough for the offense. 3-2, Cubs lose this one. They still win the series. They win the season series against the Diamondbacks. Off day tomorrow. Everybody can rest up their arms in the pen. I'm still hopeful that we'll get a move, maybe hear about Tyson Miller at some point here soon. I know he's been pitching in Iowa. I hope he's back up here soon because I think he's got different stuff, and I think he'll only add to the bullpen, which you're right. It's starting to level out a little bit.
I think you're just starting to get a little bit more certainty out of some guys, which was way better than 2.5 weeks ago. Will they need to add a reliever at some point? Yes, but, I mean, the last 2 days – I hope are start of a trend. The bullpen saved Ben Brown yesterday, coming off a day where you allowed 10 runs, okay?
Yeah.
Didn't walk, you had 1 walk yesterday, and you were up 6-1 and you didn't blow it, right? Today, you're the reason that you even were able to stay in the game and go to extra innings, So yeah, No, the offense. If the offense keeps hitting like it has been, going to have a good shot. If this bullpen starts to figure itself out,
Cubs will get Shota Imanaga on Tuesday. It's going to be I don't know what time that game is supposed to start. 4:40 Pacific time. I don't know why it's Pacific time on baseball. What is Pacific time to Central time?
That'd be 2:40.
2:40 here. Okay, 2:40. Dustin May, who has been up and down, had Tommy John.
No,
years ago.
6:40.
6:40. Yeah, I was going to say it's 2 hours later. 6:40 first pitch at Wrigley. Cubs Dodgers. Dustin May will go for the Dodgers, and he's 1-1. He's had a really nice start to the year, 1.06 ERA, and then you got Shota. Obviously, every time Shota pitches, I expect you guys to win the ball game. So that's going to do it for us. Any last thoughts, Cody? It was a good series for the Cubs and a successful one against a very good Diamondbacks team.
Yeah, you won 2 out of 3. You're 14-10. You're in first place. You're in a good spot. Please move Dansby Swanson down so people stop complaining about him. Thank you.
Zobrist live tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we have Ben Zobrist tomorrow on the show.
Yeah, nice.
So tune in. We're live at noon tomorrow.
Okay,
live at noon tomorrow, right here. So.
I'll be back with you guys producing on Wednesday, and then I'm off next Sunday. So Luke will be back too this week, so you guys will get to see him and everything. And I'm sure he'll be here tomorrow. I'm sure he'll have a lot of thoughts on this weekend series. I know he was watching today. So thanks everybody for tuning in on this Easter Sunday. Hope you guys had a wonderful holiday with your families.
Hit the like button before you go, please.
Please do, and subscribe to the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. I'm Kevin Wells. That's Cody Delmendo. Thank you so much for joining us today. Cubs did not fly the W, but off day tomorrow. Hopefully you rebound and fly the W on Tuesday against the Dodgers. Take care, guys.
We all silly like the mayor.